hold on tight because the Las Vegas Raiders just made a move that could change their future on the offensive line forever. Forget what you know about the draft. The Raiders have just selected a player who has everyone talking, Charles Grant. You might not have heard of him, but trust me, you're about to. Charles Grant? He's not from Alabama, not from Georgia. But don't let that fool you. He comes from Willie Mary. And let me tell you, this guy has the kind of traits that make scouts stop and stare. You don't need to be from a powerhouse school to know talent when you see it. And let me be clear, this guy is elite. I've seen the tape. You've got to watch it yourself to believe it. The way he moves, it's like nothing you've seen before. His strength? Off the charts. If you're talking about offensive tackles, this guy's in the top 5% when it comes to pure movement. And that's exactly what the Raiders need. Some say he could be a day one starter. Now, I'm not sold on that just yet. It's bold to think he'll start right away, especially in such a demanding position. But don't underestimate what he brings to the table. The Raiders are banking on his skills, specifically his ability to excel in a zone blocking scheme. Think Chip Kelly's system: heavy outside zone, wide zone, and split zones. This is where Charles Grant truly shines. Sure, the Raiders need to develop him a bit more, but trust me, he's built for this system. We're talking about a guy who could be the future of their offensive line. But that's not all. There's more drama brewing in Raider Nation. Did you hear about the latest whispers? Amari Cooper could be returning to the Raiders. And then there's a surprising move that's shaking up everything. The Raiders just poached a key staff member from the Eagles, someone said to be Howie Roseman's right-hand man when it comes to college scouting. But before we get to that, let's focus on Charles Grant. The Raiders may have just landed the key to their offensive future. Raiders risk versus reward. The Charles Grant development plan. Here's the truth. Raider Nation needs to hear right now. Throwing Charles Grant into the fire on day one might sound exciting, but it could be a huge mistake. Let me explain. The smartest move the Raiders can make? Take the slow and steady path. Think about how they handled DJ Glaze last year. Remember that? He didn't start the season. It was all about Thayer Munford at first. But when Munford went down, Glaze stepped in. Norton's never looked back. That's how you build a long-term starter. Let them grow, earn it, and then own it. That's exactly what needs to happen with Charles Grant. Pete Kwiatkowski has already made it clear. Charles Grant is being developed as an offensive tackle. No rushing, no shortcuts. Meanwhile, Caleb Rogers is projected to shift inside, and his tape? More consistent for now, but here's the twist. Charles Grant might have the highest ceiling of them all. We're talking top 10 offensive tackle in the NFL kind of ceiling. But don't get ahead of yourself. He's not there yet. He's raw. He needs time. First, he has to adjust to the speed of the pro game. That's the foundation. Only then can he refine his technique. Throwing him in too early could stunt that growth. Still, the buzz is loud. Some people, and I mean loud voices in the community, are even calling for the Raiders to trade Colton Miller and hand Charles the keys to left tackle. Now let's slow down a second. That would be a massive gamble. Colton Miller isn't just a starter. He's a franchise cornerstone. You don't mess with stability on the offensive line. Look at what happens when teams lose that edge. The Chiefs, their offensive line issues cost them a Super Bowl. Until they fixed it, and guess what? They won another one. Same story with the Eagles. Year after year, top-tier offensive line play has carried them to deep playoff runs and 2 Super Bowl appearances. Lesson? If you want wins, you build the wall first. The Raiders have a potential future star in Charles Grant. But let him become that star. Don't force it. Charles Grant needs time. But could Amari Cooper be the surprise weapon? Yes, Charles Grant still needs time to develop. And no, trading Colton Miller to make room for him isn't just premature, it would be flat out reckless. Grant has the tools, but tools don't win games until they're sharpened. Let the kid grow, but now let's shift gears because something very interesting is bubbling under the surface. Amari Cooper, back to the Raiders, you heard that right. This isn't just some fan fantasy either. There's real buzz coming from a source that's built a solid rep in the NFL Twitter community. Slick Rick. If you're active on NFL Twitter, you already know the name. This guy has broken multiple stories before major insiders like Adam Schefter even tweeted. He called the extensions of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins early. And now he's saying Amari Cooper is considering a return to Las Vegas. And this isn't just some random pre-draft rumor. This chatter is post-draft, after the Raiders already made moves at wide receiver. So what does it mean? It could be a huge boost for the Raiders. Yes, the team is loaded with potential, but let's be real. Potential doesn't win games. Production does. Look at the current receiver room: Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker, and Jack Beck. Now ask yourself, how many of them have proven they can be reliable weapons over a full NFL season? Tucker and Beck are still question marks. That's not a knock, it's just the truth. They're developing. But you can't build a playoff caliber offense on question marks. Amari Cooper, though? That's a known quantity. A veteran who can get open, move the chains, and draw attention away from your younger guys. That kind of experience can be transformational for a young offense trying to find its rhythm. If the Raiders are serious about contending, and not just rebuilding, adding Amari Cooper might be the smartest move they make all offseason. Would you bring him back? Why the Raiders need Amari Cooper, not just want him look. Relying solely on Jacoby Myers and Jack Beck as your top two wideouts is a gamble, and not the smart kind. Beck may develop into a star, but assuming he'll be that guy on day one is risky. And let's be honest, two wide receivers simply aren't enough in today's NFL. The best offenses have 3 or 4 real weapons. And while Brock Bowers and Ashton Genie add some serious firepower, that doesn't solve the issue at wide receiver. If the Raiders want to elevate this offense, they must bring in a proven wideout. Someone who can create separation, run precise routes, and be a reliable third down target. That player? Amari Cooper. Yes, some fans are skeptical, but let's not forget. The Raiders drafted Cooper, and he had some great seasons in silver and black, especially 2016. While he's not Justin Jefferson, he's still a technician, a guy who knows how to get open and make plays. Right now, the projected WR group would include Trey Tucker, who's still unproven, Jack Beck, a rookie who will need time, and maybe Dante Thornton Jr., a fourth-rounder with upside but still very raw. Are we really going into the season hoping those 3 guys suddenly turn elite? Sure, maybe Jack Beck breaks out by week 6 and surprises everyone with a 1,200-yard pace. But what if he doesn't? The NFL waits for no one, and this Raiders team shouldn't waste a season waiting for young players to maybe develop. You have a shot now, and adding Amari Cooper makes that shot a lot more real. According to Slick Rick, again, a guy with a strong track record, Cooper is seriously considering the return. If the front office is listening, now's the time to act. Because if the Raiders want to win in 2025, they can't rely on hope. They need experience. They need weapons. They need Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper would be WR1 the moment he lands in Vegas. Let's be real. If Amari Cooper signed with the Raiders today, he'd instantly be in the conversation as their best wide receiver. Sure, Jacoby Myers might edge him out at this point in their careers, but it's close. And even if Cooper isn't quite in his prime, the guy still runs crisp routes and knows how to create separation. Now think about what that could mean for a rookie like Jack Beck, someone already showing route-running potential. Cooper could be more than just a target on the field. He could be a mentor. Don't underestimate what Cooper's done throughout his career, not just for himself, but for others. He helped CeeDee Lamb grow into a wide receiver 1 in Dallas. He was in Cleveland as Jerry Jeudy arrived, giving the former first-rounder a stabilizing presence after a shaky start in Denver. If the Raiders want their young receivers to succeed, who better to learn from than a technician like Cooper? Of course, it comes down to money. If Cooper's asking for $8 million, you sign him yesterday. If it's $18 million, that's a hard pass. But if the price is right, this is a no-brainer. Yes, there's potential in this WR room, but potential doesn't win games in September. The Raiders can't afford to assume this young core will suddenly drop 35 points a game, especially when the defense still has major question marks. Guys like Darian Porter bring promise, but let's not kid ourselves. The secondary is thin. Even if Porter starts day 1, who's locking down the other side? Who's patrolling the slot? Who's the reliable safety? If this team is going to make noise in 2025, especially with Geno Smith now 35 years old, they need to act with urgency. Bring in a veteran like Amari Cooper. add defensive help in free agency, and give this team a real shot to win now. Raiders hire respected Eagles scout, a big win. Behind the scenes, while fans focus on players and coaches, it's often the quiet moves in the front office that build dynasties. And the Raiders may have just made one of those moves by hiring Anthony Patch, a key member of the Eagles' renowned scouting department, as their senior personnel executive. If you know the NFL, you know Howie Roseman and the Eagles have built one of the most consistent rosters in football. Not through flashy trades or elite quarterback play, but through smart drafting and elite player development. That's where Patch comes in. According to league insiders, Patch played a crucial role in shaping the Eagles' draft philosophy. He was a trusted voice in selecting players like Jalen Carter, a top 10 pick with character concerns, now anchoring their defensive line. Landon Dickerson, a second-round steal from Alabama who had injury issues but top-tier tape. He's now one of the NFL's best guards. Cam Jurgens, a second-round center who just landed a major contract extension. Patch also had a hand in the Eagles' ability to spot depth talent and turn those players into contributors, if not stars. Sure, not every pick has panned out, like Jordan Davis, who's been solid but not dominant, but their overall draft success is unmatched. This hire is about more than scouting college players. It's about changing the Raiders' draft identity. If Patch brings even half of the Eagles' front office magic to Las Vegas, the Raiders could finally turn their draft classes into long-term building blocks instead of short-term experiments. Moves like this don't make headlines, but they can change franchises. The Raiders are betting big on draft excellence, and Anthony Patch is the key. Anthony Patch isn't just another front office hire. He's the guy who helped build one of the NFL's best rosters in Philadelphia. And now he's bringing that experience to Las Vegas. Patch served as the senior director of college scouting for the Eagles, the top evaluator of college talent. He was the one building the draft board, setting priorities, and deciding who ranked above who when the pressure was on. Now he joins the Raiders as a senior personnel executive, a role that hasn't been fully defined publicly, but will likely let him shape the team's draft strategy and player evaluations moving forward. But this isn't a random hire. There's history here. Patch worked closely with Raiders GM Tom Telesco and scouting veteran John Spytek from 2005 to 2009. Those connections matter. In the tight-knit world of NFL scouting, trust and experience go a long way, and the Raiders are surrounding themselves with respected voices who've been part of winning systems. While the 2024 draft is already behind them, and it was a solid showing, this move is all about the long game. Drafting well isn't just important. It's how you build a Super Bowl contender. You don't win championships by chasing big-name free agents. As the narrator points out, when you sign someone like Christian Wilkins for $27 million a year, you're mostly paying for what he already did, not what he's about to do. Real success comes from identifying and developing talent through the draft, and even through undrafted free agents. That's what Patch helped Philadelphia master. If he can bring even part of that blueprint to the Raiders, their future just got a lot brighter. Why drafting and undrafted gems like Amari Gainer matter more than ever for the Raiders. Let's get this straight. Building a championship team doesn't happen in free agency. The big contracts, they're often for past production. The real gold mine is in the draft, and even more quietly, the undrafted free agent pool. Take Milton Williams as an example. Drafted by the Eagles in the third round, he didn't explode onto the scene immediately. But by year 4, he became a major contributor and just landed a $26 to $27 million deal with the Panthers spot rack. That's long-term value built through good scouting and player development. The Raiders are hoping to follow that model. One name to watch? Amari Gainer, a 2023 UDFA linebacker who's been turning heads ever since he walked into the building. Gainer has consistently outshined even drafted players in camp, including guys like Tommy Eichenberg, fifth-rounder from Ohio State, and Amari Burney. While most expect Devin White and Ellendon Roberts to be the starting linebackers, Gainer is the dark horse many believe could earn meaningful snaps, and maybe even start. He dominated in preseason play, and now he's working out with top-level trainers at Linebacker University, a program many NFL players trust to elevate their game. Gainer is all in, faster, stronger, and laser-focused on seizing his chance. What makes this exciting is that Gainer's rise is emblematic of the Raiders' new front office vision. With guys like Anthony Patch coming in, people who have a proven eye for talent, the hope is that these under the radar players will become stars, not just depth pieces. The future of the Raiders' defense might not be written in seven-figure contracts, but in the quiet grind of players like Gainer. Would you be open to Amari Cooper returning to the Raiders if the deal makes sense? What are your predictions for the linebacker group this year?